going on? Coach Chris, Team Critical Ben, here in the middle of Powerhouse Gym with top bodybuilding pro Ben Pakulski. The big question is, how do we get a really nice, big, and strong chest? What's the optimal approach, right? Well, I got Ben here, so he's going to tell you.
Right, so obviously every man in the world wants to have an awesome chest, and most people don't. Most people lack some component of their chest. Most people say, Ben, how can I build my upper inner chest? And I'm going to give you guys a really simple understanding of how to build your entire chest, and then when Chris gets in there and does a set, I'll show you a little bit of cueing on how to really hit your inner chest a little bit more. And the reason people don't usually hit their inner chest is they don't usually take the chest to a full range of motion, but that's not the focus of this video. What I want you guys to think about, the optimal way to train your chest, people ask is there a proper angle or an optimal angle? The answer is no. The answer is you want to train your chest at all angles. So let's imagine this. If I'm doing a flat bench press, and I'm doing it at this angle, that's hitting one particular part of my chest, one direction of fibers. So I could do it at this angle, I could do it at this angle, I could do it at this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. And every one of those is going to hit the fibers of my chest to some extent. Even this is going to hit these fibers a little bit. So what you want to do at some point in your workout or at some point in your regime or your week or your month, hit the chest at all of those angles. Not one angle, you want to vary it all the time. So the problem most people run into why they've never developed their upper chest properly is their flat bench looks like this. And they do their incline bench, it looks like this. So it ends up looking exactly like flat bench. So if I'm doing a flat bench and it's here, then I put myself on an incline, it ends up being the exact same thing, right? We're just basically changing the position of the bench. Just arch a little bit more. So what I want you to do, Chris, is I actually want you to try to maintain nicely contracted abdominals. So when I do a flat bench, it's actually here. When I do an incline bench, it's actually here. So the only thing we're really changing is perhaps the direction of my arm travel, not my spine. So flat bench is here, incline is here. So you kind of see that, how this moves and this doesn't, as opposed to letting this move a little bit further. Let's try that. So I want you to get in there and do a flat bench. I'm only going to do 6 reps at every angle, but I'm going to make him do every angle so you can see it. So come right down, flatten this out. And pull those shoulders back. Jump up. Good, that's the first angle we have. That's about 30 degrees. Now again, flatten this out. All I'm doing here is making sure you get this top is ripped out. What I'm really doing is to do this, make sure it's lower back. So push it into your hands. Now we're about 60 degrees. Again, we're going to try to do this flush. Every time you throw your shoulder forward, you're going to lose tension in your chest and really pin it back. Now let's go all the way up.
It starts to wear on you a little bit.
Now this is really important. You got to keep this flat. Most people here are going to arch. See how this is happening? Yep. There you go. That's going to arch.
Yeah, it is.
Extend it. There, hold that. Fast back, go. Back down. No rest at the top. Come on. Push it up. Back down. So what the natural inclination is, because most people when they're pressing here, they're very weak, this is going to be a stronger position for them, so they start arching a little bit more. So we want to avoid that. And now another way you can do that is start in the opposite direction. Start with the shoulder press and work down, but I want to make Chris's life difficult for you. So typically the hardest of the positions would be here. So you may start there and work your way down. But then again, you're going to pre-exhaust your shoulders that way. So depending what your priority in your training is, if you're trying to train your shoulders a bit more, start high and work down. most people want to build their chest a little more, so start flat and work up.
See, so there was a reason to that. Let's put him in his weakest position.
He's got a pretty big ego, so I want to break it down a little bit.
Yeah, wow. I mean, and I think, you know, you don't realize it as much when you're training yourself, or even if you're training with a partner, because they're not always going to kind of highlight your flaws. Because sometimes, you know, if your partner's your buddy, the last thing he's going to do is maybe, you know, crack the whip on you. So you end up getting some of those cheat reps in. Well, you're not even realizing you're doing anything wrong.
The point of the video is to show you guys that nothing is necessarily right or wrong. There's a continuum of everything has its point. Everything has its application, as long as you understand why. And as long as everything doesn't look the same. You know, I can make my flat bench like this, and that's basically like doing, you know, decline. Or I can do it in an actual plane that's supposed to be done for a flat bench. Not to say one is necessarily right, but most people just make all of their bench press angles the same. So let's do our best to create some variation. Allow your chest fibers to be stimulated from all angles. And we're happen to be in the middle of the Olympic lifting session, apparently today in Tampa Powerhouse.
I love it. It's all for effect.
Right.
There's just a bunch of people over there dropping weights.
Yeah, there's nobody actually working out over there, just dumping them. Right.
I hope you can take this to heart. I know you know, you think you know a bit about what you're doing in the gym. If you've been doing it for a lot of years,
some simple stuff.
I'm telling you, just some small adjustments like that makes all the difference in the world. And I can't thank Ben enough. Again, BPak, Hypertrophy Max, look it up. And one day maybe you can be this big. Coach Chris, Team Critical Bench. We'll see you again soon.